Hi, hello, Mana. We're going back to basics, but with a twist. We're making a sword. I'm so excited. So let's get into it.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Hi! Okay, so if you might have noticed, my setup is a little different. This is my lazy setup. We're sitting on my bed, I only have one light, I'm only using the house lights and like daylight. And the reason for that is because I need to get going on this project, which I've been waiting to do since October. I have a 3D printed Riptide that I need to put together before March 29th. It is February 2nd, and I'm so excited. I am so ecstatic. Saying that, just a fair warning for people who just don't like messy videos, this video is gonna be real messy. There's gonna be jump cuts, there's gonna be sound issues, there's gonna be a lot of different things because my main focus right now is working on the sword. But I also really want to make this video. Saying that, this video might also just turn into me preparing for Megacon this year because I have a lot of things to do, and partially this is the way to keep myself accountable to myself. But I also want to make this video because convention chaos, and it's just gonna be so freaking exciting. I've never worked with 3D print before, and I'm just so psyched. I can't wait to get started. So let's get started. Sorry, I lied. I swear we're gonna start the video in a second. But just for the people who like to skip around, I'm gonna put timestamps right around here. Hey, editing on it, do you mind? Yes, please? Now let's get started in the video because I don't have a lot of time. It's only February 2nd, like I said, hopefully. And I have till March, so wish me luck. Okay, so I finally get to do the thing I've been wanting to do, really, since I got this, and that is open it up. I've already cut it, as you can see. I've used it for many different things. I'm very nervous because I know that some plastics do melt if you leave them out in the sun. So let's hope that nothing is not the way it's supposed to be. Oh, they're so sweet. Oh. Okay, so I did actually talk to, I didn't tell you guys the story of how I got this, did I? So, to make a very long story short, I was actually shopping for a friend of mine for her birthday. I was shopping Percy Jackson merch, and I saw this sword, but I didn't buy it at the time. I kind of was like, wait a month, see how badly you want it, then if it's still there, then it's fate. If not, then okay. And it wasn't there. It wasn't. Thing is, I know me, and I wanted that sword really bad. So what I ended up doing is I actually messaged the person who makes this, and I will put his shop somewhere around here. And he responded. Apparently he was already making one, and he was like, do you want one too? I'll put it right back up for you. And that's basically the story of how I got this. He literally was like, dude, I'm making one right now. Do you want it? Because I will, if you pay for it, I'll send it over to you. And so I have a sword. I didn't expect him to give candy. Just, oh, he says thank you too. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna have to do a lot of freaking sanding. Oh jeez. Oh wow, a lot of sanding. A lot of sanding, a lot of gap filler. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have done a little research on this already, but, like, I didn't expect to have to do this much sanding. So I continued to take all the stuff out, and honestly, I couldn't resist trying to piece everything together to figure out where it goes. I did inspect it as I did so. This is a grab bag of me just continuing to talk and figuring things out, kind of just puzzling everything together. Also the pegs. Don't forget the pegs, those are important. So there's these little square things, and I think what they're for is to be able to connect everything together. I'm not sure, but it looks like it, because they all have these little inserts in here. So that's my best guess. This would go here. Sorry, I'm just like getting really distracted by this, but like this has to go on the base of the sword. Oh, this is hitting all the happy notes. And there's bubble wrap. One last square. It's just I'm terrified. I'm so scared of this, but it's just like so freaking cool. Oh my god. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure this out a little bit off camera. More so like, the answer to my question, are the pegs for this specifically? Like, oh, is it? Okay, I think the pegs are for this, because if you look inside, I know it's gonna be really hard to see, but if you look inside, it kind of stops at a point. So the pegs probably just go in different slots, it looks like. So I'm gonna quickly just turn off the camera for a few minutes just to see what bits go where. If not, I'll be filming on my bed. I'll see you when I see you. So I started out basically treating this like a puzzle, so I'm a very visual person, so I need to see where everything was going. Once I did figure that out, I started jamming, and I do mean jamming these pegs into the actual sword itself and using my table as a makeshift hammer. Do I recommend this? Absolutely not. I actually ended up cracking the bottom of the sword by doing this. No worries though, there's such a thing as glue and filler, and that fixed it right up. Still don't recommend it. But for now, I just ended up banging and putting together and refiguring out where everything is, double checking that it's where it goes, because once it was in there, it was in there, and I ended up just making this noise on repeat. So everything here is an honorable mention, the sanding blocks and the wood filler. Though the wood filler I do end up using later on the project. The sanding blocks I don't ever use again. Wood filler was really good at filling in those cracks, and it didn't really stick to my hands too much. I just had to wash my hands to get them off. It was really, really nice, and I'm very tactile. Saying that, I took apart this sword, so I had to sand them off. So I ranged my grits all the way down from 80 all the way up to about 2,000 at most for wet sanding. When I started out, I did actually use the sanding blocks, but very quickly transitioned into just using the papers. And here I'm probably using about an 80 to at most 220 grit just to get those layer lines down. So we're gonna do a change in strategy. We're gonna go from sanding this, which I have been told that, like, though it is an okay way to do it, it's not the best and it doesn't get the best quality. So we're gonna go from sanding this just like this, and then filling this with this, which by the way, I'm gonna be using this, which is 2-in-1 filler and sandable primer, basically. So we're gonna go ahead and just, this is wet right now, so once this dries, I'm gonna spray this. But we're just gonna do some tests with this thing, because honestly, this is the handle, and I won't be mad if I have to replace this. Whether that be with actual wood or something else. Honestly, completely fine with me. So we're gonna test it out on this. I've been told this stuff only dries within an hour. Really, you should let it sit for 24 hours. I don't know. Either way, this is an okay method of doing. Like, it's a wide way of doing it. That is definitely a way to phrase that. It's kind of like a widespread way of doing it, so I'm not super concerned about this, but it's also my first time doing any of this, and I didn't think I was gonna do check-ins for this video, but apparently I am. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint this. Just so you know, I'm just gonna do like 2 coats of it, and then go ahead and sand it. So if I don't show that, that's just because it is currently nighttime, and my lights are being uncooperative, so I don't really want you guys to have to deal with bad lighting, even though even in the beginning of the video I said I wouldn't care, and I don't, but like, at the very least, I would love for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, but I'd rather not have toxic fumes in my apartment, so let's get to doing this. here's when I start using this nifty little tool called sanding files. The thing is that paint does gunk up all these little details that I personally really like to keep. Plus it looks a little weird without them. Saying that, gotta be careful with this because I did end up scratching up the paint a few times, which yes, I did go back in with filler, but it's still a pain and more work to do, and it was really, really, really freaking annoying. What I did find out with these sanding files is they're really good for degunking the sanding paper, and the sanding paper is really good for degunking the sanding files, because this paint does gunk up pretty much everything it touches. It's really good for filling things, this is what it's made for, but in the process, if you put too much on, it gunks it up. Unfortunately, you have to go in and go back and go in and go back, so it's a never-ending story. So a running theme throughout this video is whenever I was taking breaks from the sword, I was actually working on other projects. This one in particular is a dress I wore for Todoroki. That the bodice was slightly big on me because I did actually get it secondhand, so I'm hand sewing the sides in just so it would fit me a lot better. As you can see, it's like the next night, and it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. But I have finished this seam right here, and I freaking love how seamless, how seamless this is. This looks freaking amazing. This is the second time I've hand sewn something, but it going correctly. And then now I did some repinning here because I've had somebody help me with this. So as you can see, I have fixed the seam more or less. It does kind of crease in some areas, but I can't really do much about that. But for the most part, this is what's gonna look like, and then this is what the dress looks like from like far away right now at the second. Just this. So basically we're just gonna repeat this on this side and just hope that like it doesn't turn out bad. That's literally it. I might do some adjusting because I can see the creasing's a little bother me a little bit, but other than that, let's just hope that like everything turns out okay, that I can just sew this and cross it off my list of things needed to be done. I have done some interesting things in between. On and off, I've been like sanding this. It's getting to a point where I don't need to even sand it anymore. It's pretty smooth. You can't even see the layer lines, which is great. But now I'm starting to lose detail. So as you can see, I've been messing with that. That's like not ideal, so I'm gonna have to go back and sand that. I've been gluing this. And apparently it's still very sticky, so I'm gonna have to go wash my hands. Yeah, that is where I'm at the moment. I am very much just trying to get this to be nice. I think that's the best way to put it. Nice. I think I will have to glue this together, considering I was able to take this apart. I had to fix a crack in the, I think I already talked about this, but I had to fix a crack in the sword. The sword is going the way I thought it was gonna go, where it's kind of going a little insane. And then very early on. Like, we're getting somewhere, but also going backwards. So, hope for the best. Plan for the worst. That's where I'm at right now. But on the bright side, we got this part done. Now I just gotta do this, and look how pretty. Look how pretty this is. And I freaking love it. Yes. So, sword, yes. Dress, kind of priority for the reason of I can get this done faster, and then I can get back to the sword. This video will come out after my Jason Grace Valentine's Day video, so I'm currently editing that. So that's like something I really need to work on at the second, so that way I can focus on this and not have to worry about it. Today is February 6th, so that means that I have like not even 60, like 50 something days left, and we need to get the sword done. My birthday's the weekend of Megacon. We need to get the sword done. Alright. So, bye. I'm gonna charge my camera. I'm gonna finish this, and I'm gonna go to bed. That's pretty much it. I'm not even gonna film this. I've already filmed sewing this. It's the same. Rinse and repeat on this side. Literally. So, bye-bye. Alright, so this is very informal. If you may notice, my audio's like kind of... that is because I don't even have the microphone on because I just want to do a quick check-in. I really just want to do a quick check-in. We are changing strategies. I'm going to be using Bondo. If you don't know what Bondo is, it's just another filler. This stuff is used on cars, I've been told, and it does have really bad fumes, which is why I've been trying to avoid using it. Saying that, I need more control over where the filler is going because I've been having issues with losing detail on this freaking sword where I do not want to lose a lot of detail. So we are going to be building up on this. I bought 2 of these. If you hear the cracking in the background, that's because I'm making tater tots before I go ahead and like do this. It is about 9 o'clock at night right now. I had the entire day to do this, but I just kind of relented at this point and went to Walmart, bought this for like $5. And we're gonna hope for the best. The reason why I didn't start with this is because the stuff I have been told, has really bad fumes. So we're just gonna hope for the best with this and let's see what happens. I will do my best to film more. I can't promise anything because I am super busy at the moment, but let's hope. Even if there's a very rude plane over us, but let's hope. Let's hope. All right, let's get to eating and then I'll get to working. When using the Bondo, I tried a few things out. First, I tried using like a different rag. It was, first of all, a towel and then a paper towel. What I found worked the best was using my fingers and using clay tools because it kind of gets that most even kind of texture. Though it really doesn't matter because you're going to sand it down anyway, but it does get the most like flat finish you need with this sword. A fair warning, this stuff makes a lot of fine dust that you can breathe in. And I, at first, was really careful with this. I even vacuumed my space so that way I had something clean to work with. But please, please, please wear safety gear, like a mask or something. So the next thing I did is I quickly actually figured out that acetone thins Bondo out, which makes a really good paint. That being said, I needed to get that gunk out of those letterings that is in the mantle, which I use like sewing needles, tweezers, the sanding files, anything I could really grab at to get that gunk out of it. Because like I said before, the paint does gunk this stuff up. That being said, the acetone paint Bondo, whatever you want to call it, works miracles on stuff like this, where there's a lot of itty bitty detailing and it's really hard to get out. And it's really annoying when they get covered up. So I learned very quickly to tape that up before I go ahead and paint it, so that way I can just paint it directly versus using a spray paint. So the Todoroki dress is making its final appearance in this video. What I'm doing here, because like I said before, this is a second-hand dress. I got this thing at Goodwill, and I did have to downsize it, which also means I need to punch holes in this belt. What I end up doing is I use the pencil so that way I could erase whenever I had a mistake going on. And I did use a few things to trace and try to keep it even. As you can see, I'm using sewing measuring tape. And I used my Dremel to punch holes in it. That's it. That's all. Okay, so, hi. I know I look a little funny. I just wanted to do a quick check-in. If you can hear the fan in the background, sorry. Can't help that. Can't do anything about that. But I did want to note that 320, once you get to so many layers of this, 320 seems to be the way to go. It gets things pretty smooth, because if you can tell in the back, like, hang on, okay, oh, perfect. So So right in this area right here, there's like some like bumps and whatever, and that's because I was a little too spray happy and I put the stuff on a little too thick. There's a combination of Bondo and like, which is, you know, this stuff, and a combination of this spray right here. Just on here, and I just got a little too impatient, thought I was good to go. I was not. So I'm now in the process of fixing that mistake. But so far what it seems like is the 320 is the good grit for that, because I've been just messing with this and I keep either sanding it down too much or going back and forth, and my layer lines keep popping back up even though I cover them again and again, or it just gets too gummy and I'll have to fix that. So far it seems like 320 is a happy medium, because I don't know why, but 400 is a little too much, and anything lower than that will just like take off all the progress you already made a little bit too much. Saying that, I am mid this, so we'll see what actually happens, but it seems to be taking off just enough to where I can go back and hopefully spray it over with a thin, I repeat, thin layer of the filler. And yeah, I've been using a combination of like Bondo and then Bondo with acetone, painting that on. You should really spray the stuff most of the time when you see videos online spraying, but I don't really own an airbrush, so it's just like yeah, so I'm gonna go back to doing this. I'll see you guys when I finish sanding, because like I haven't filmed the majority of the sanding, because if I said in the voiceover, it's kind of tedious. It's the same thing over and over, and I don't want to personally film all that footage, because I'm literally just repeating the process of a mixture of like using Bondo paint and using Bondo putty and then using the filler just like over and over again, and using all the grits I've already mentioned. Yeah, so I'll see you when I actually need to glue this thing together, or when I'm doing the final coat. We'll see what happens. Bye. So these right here are Birdie Bots beans, aka Harry Potter beans, aka also the Bean Boozled beans. I kind of used both brands for what I'm doing here, which is putting every flavored jelly beans in Easter eggs for April Fool's Day. This is what I was going to do for Todoroki, because I also dressed up as Jack Frost crossed with Todoroki that day. And it did kind of lay over into the next day, but that is for another video to completely explain. What you're seeing here is basically me spending a good few hours with a glove and pre-washed hands putting the jelly beans in each and every single egg. Once I was done with the jelly beans, I went back to sanding the sword. Well, more specifically, I was waiting for parts of the sword to dry, but other parts of the sword were ready to be wet sanded. What is wet sanding, you ask? I don't know, it's magic to me. It basically means that you are sanding it while wet with water. Specifically here, I am sanding the butt of the sword, and I sanded the hilt of the sword. It just makes everything smooth. It gets rid of those sanding lines that develop as you're sanding it with more rough sandpaper. And you kind of want to start it. I personally started it with like 600 grit, but you probably would want to start around like 1,000 to about, at most, 2,000. Like work your way up very slowly. As I learned very quickly, that is the way to go. I got it quite smooth, but I did end up having to wet sand it again later because of just mistakes that happened with the actual blade, which seems to be a running theme with this project. On my break, I decided that I was going to put all these cards that I made on Canva, except for this poster. I mean, I made this poster on Canva, but it's not one of the cards, into about 40 or so envelopes that I was going to glue on top of the boxes. Oh, you might be wondering, I was giving out cupcakes to people on my birthday. 40 of them. So this took a little while. Everything was made on Canva, like I said. We got one social media card, we got 3 ingredients cards, and a nice little riddle for April Fool's Day for the pre-mentioned eggs. Finally, we are gluing the sword together. So I used a bunch of different glues because, to be completely honest with you, I did not trust this in the slightest. The glues I ended up using were Gorilla Glue Epoxy, Super Glue from I forget which brand, and then I also used rubber cement. All this stuff you can buy at Walmart for like at most $10 each. And I kind of just ended up using a combination of everything to make sure this will hold in the future, because I'm quite clumsy and I'm terrified of this thing breaking. That all being said, I found the epoxy was the best for painting it on. It was clear when it dried, and I actually ended up using it as a reinforcement for where the cracks were, because that became a problem later. To clean off all the excess epoxy on the sword, I used 70% isopropyl alcohol, specifically green, so I could actually see it on the rag, and I just wiped that stuff off as fast as I could, because once the stuff cures, it's stuck on there, you cannot remove it. Finally, it was time to glue the blade to the hilt, and I could not be happier to do this. I did have to shave down the peg that connected the two things though, because of the fact that it would not slide in unless I wanted to break it. Once everything was glued together, the next thing I had to do was blend in all those seams that are in the blade of the sword. I first started using Bondo for this. It's a really good way of doing this, but unfortunately the sword, the way it is constructed, is very flexible, so the blade kept bending and creating cracks roughly everywhere. I tried various different methods, mostly going towards what you would use in your bathroom for expanding water in like a sink or something like that. And I'll be honest, I don't know if those worked very well. They kinda did, but I looked for the most sandable kind. By the way, there is more sanding to be done with this. You are not done. I had to wet sand again. It was very tedious. The method I found worked the best though was going over with Bondo, a little bit of air dry EVA foam clay with not too much water, but a little bit of water, letting that dry, and then going over it with epoxy. And when I say letting it dry, I mean dry flat. If you so much as let this thing bend the wrong way, it will crack. But that is fine. I know this now. This is a learning process. We're learning together. While I waited for the clay to dry, I went ahead and painted the handle of the sword with this brown spray paint. The reason why I chose this color brown is because it was the closest to the leather I chose to wrap the sword in, which I will talk about a little bit later on in this video. While I waited for the paint to dry, I went ahead and started to lace up these boots I got off of Amazon for the Todoroki dress. I chose this red ribbon I had on hand in my sewing kit. They worked really well for red laces, on top of the fact that it was aesthetically really pleasing when I tied it into a bow. I made sure that the ends were even, and just in case I wanted to change out the laces at any point in time. So the painting process was a little nuts, kind of mad science, but hear me out. So I used a glossy orange paint to use as a base coat because Percy's sword does actually shine a little bit on the more orange side rather than the red side that you normally use for undercoat for bronze. I did end up using bronze paint, but I used a bronze acrylic paint that I bought at Hobby Lobby and turned into a spray paint via this kit that I found at Home Depot for about $5. I did thin it out with water, so it was really, really freaking thin, so I had to do multiple layers. And then I used paint sponges, kind of like paint rollers, and I got this idea via my friend from TikTok. Hi, shout out to you. Thank you for letting me know about this. This was amazing. And it didn't really leave any paint marks, which was really, really, really nice. After I was done painting and everything was dry, and I did multiple coats of this took about a week, I went ahead and wrapped the hilt up in leather and super glued it on so that way it would stay nice and snug. Alright, hi, so I just got out of work and I'm gonna head straight to Walmart because I gotta get more eggs for everything, and tonight is the night before the convention. I still have so much to do. I still need to finish the sword. I need to do a lot of baking. So if I accidentally skip out on footage, it's just because I'm rushing. I am so sorry. I will try my best to fill it in with something funny or something like that, or explain the best I can. But tonight's game time. We gotta go. I have a long list. I have a very long list of things to do and I need to do it tonight. So, enough chattering, gotta go, bye-bye. So the week before the convention was basically everything to be prepped. First thing I did was boxes. I made sure that I built every single box so that way I wouldn't have to worry about it later on in the week. Also, the night before I started baking, which I believe was Sunday night, I disinfected everything, all my countertops. I disinfected the jars, I disinfected the syringe I was going to use. I made sure that my place was spotless before I baked cupcakes and syrup and porta calapita to give out to random strangers. That being said, so I did actually bake these cupcakes on live stream, so I have no footage of me baking them, But I do have footage of me icing and decorating them. I use blue icing as well as blue food coloring for the cupcakes because those were for Percy himself. And I used these pearl sprinkles that I had from, guess what? Hallmat that worked perfectly for the ocean vibes. I also used like this glitter cookie gel icing that I had also from Hallmat, and it worked wonderfully. It made the icing kind of look like water, and it just looked really nice. I really liked how it turned out. As for the jars, you might be wondering what that's for. That is for the syrup for the portocalepita, aka ambrosia. Well, nectar. Portocalepita was the ambrosia. And I used the syringe to make the process a lot cleaner and a lot faster, and filled up each jar roughly equally as I could, and made sure I could just fill up every single freaking jar, which I actually didn't end up using, which was pretty nice because now I have some syrup all for myself, and this stuff is really good. Highly recommend. Plug here Jason Grace's video. The other thing I did was paint my Easter basket for April Fool's Day for Todoroki's outfit. This was the last thing I did for Todoroki, and I love how this turned out. It's so cute. It's half white, half red. I did not paint the bottom of this because I did not have the energy for it, but it turned out freaking amazing. I even used some birthday tissue my friend gave me, so it just blended all around.
12 sleepless hours later.
I just want to point out the fact that I just ran to CVS. Is this important to the video? No, but I'm running late. I have 10 minutes till I need to leave. And 2 hours till the convention starts. This is not even a check-in. I just ran into CVS because I didn't have, I ran out of this, which, it's fine. It still has sparkles on it, but the one I have doesn't have as much as this. Excuse me. I like to paint my nails for this character. So, it's nothing. This is a great start to the day. Wish me luck. Alright, I gotta go, because I gotta do a lot of things that are gonna take a while. So, yeah.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Okay, so I'm literally walking up to my house right now. I grabbed this. It's game time. It's game time. I have so much to do. So much to do tonight. I grabbed some of my favorite little treats. Those are macaroni bites right now. And we are running upstairs. I'm getting out of this makeup as quick as I can. Partially because I just want to get out. And partially because that. So we are going to make the last batch of this stuff. We're going to box everything up. And then if we have time, I'm going to do the jelly beans. If I don't have time, I'm going to bed. I have to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, so wish me luck. And wish myself luck, I did. I had no choice but to finish this that night because I have baked all these goodies, been prepping for months, and my birthday was the next day, and no way in heck was I giving up on this. So while the second batch was baking, I went ahead and wrapped all that portocalepita, and once everything was done, I boxed it up and closed all the lids, and then I proceeded to put it inside the crate. While I kind of waited for some things to cool, I put tape on the crate because I did label it property of Paul Blowfist, because I thought it was really funny that it was like a nice teacher's crate, and Paul is an actual English teacher himself, so I thought it'd be really cute considering the premise I was doing for that day. Next, once all the boxes were inside, I had it labeled, everything was good. I made sure to hot glue the envelopes on top of the boxes, partially because I miscalculated in terms of sizing, so I had to stack everything on top of each other. It did make it really easy to kind of give it out to people though, so I'm not really mad at this. Lastly, when I had to put the crate into the actual fridge itself, because yes, I did that for the reason of to keep everything as fresh as I could, I took the shelf out. I did actually pre-clean this part of my fridge as well, and then just put the crate inside my fridge. Fun fact, I almost actually forgot it the day of the convention. Thank goodness I previously made a checklist and actually had a checklist saved for this convention for this very same reason, because I knew I was gonna forget something by accident. ignore the background noise. I'm not turning that off, to be honest with you. But that's a wrap. It is 1:13 in the morning. This is the earliest I've ever finished anything here. I still have some stuff to do, but it's not really relevant to this. It's really just like ironing a shirt and going through my checklist, making sure everything's good, charging my camera, and data dumping. It's kind of like not related to the big things that I've been talking about this entire video. So for that just basically means that's a wrap. The only thing that I probably will do tonight that is like huge is something I've already filmed, so I'm not going to film that again. So next time I see you, and I do apologize for the weird audio, but the next time I see you, it will be probably when I close out this video after the con and everything. Yeah, but I'm done. I am so done. I can't tell you how relieved I feel about this. Like, oh, it's done. It fits in my fridge. It's gonna stay in here until the morning. I'm really happy about it. I'm also very tired, so I'm gonna get to the stuff I need to get to and go to bed. Yeah. Alright, good night. Hello, the sword's done. This is done. I can't guarantee you'll get a good or bad egg in here, but there's eggs, as you can hear. So it's a week after the con now, and I'm not going to talk about the con very much on here, because spoilers, I got future videos for that. But I will say that it did take 3 months, like I said before, to do all the prep for it. And for anyone who's a new con goer, or even just old convention goers, or if you just were entertained by this video, I'm very glad I was able to help. Saying that, if you were just looking for a Percy Jackson sword tutorial, sorry. Guess it didn't turn into that. I was correct, it was a con prep video. But at the very least, you got some tutorial out of it. And I'm very proud of how this turned out. Look at how it shines, and I will compliment the fact that that's based on the base coat. There was so much that just went into prepping for this con, making the sword and learning new materials and learning new things. I do hope that you guys take my video and run with it and figure something out that maybe works for you, because I'm not a one-to-one, Percy Riptide sword for Dummies 101. I'm not a full tutorial, I'm just trying my best and learning as I go. And that is basically my process. And I don't really have much to say beyond I'm very excited to see what videos I come up with in the future that have to do with this, because guess what? I own a 3D printer now. And I'm just really happy with it. So without much else to say beyond, my goodness, this video was stressful and amazing, and I'm excited for all the videos that are to come. I hope you guys have a good day, and or a good night, a good week, and goodbye. Bye.